All right, so ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next part of the day, we have a presentation here by Mr. Sudip Kolte, VP Sales and Marketing, Saint Gobain India Private Limited, Gyproc Business. And the presentation is going to be on patient-centric design for better healing. I request Mr. Sudip to join us on the stage.
Good morning all. I think respected dignitaries, dear friends, indeed a pleasure to be over here. When I was told that I will be the first speaker coming from Mumbai, I think my first thought was Delhi mein log subah milenge nahi milenge. But when I look at this gathering, I think I do see a very august gathering which is respecting each other's time. So thank you so much for being there. Yep, that's the right one, thankfully. Yep. So we heard about what NABH is doing about standards, accreditation. I think that's really reassuring. We all know that. Would want to build on that theme and say that, of course, Saint Gobain, Gyproc, along with all the entities, is working very strongly in terms of working with NBCs, working with BIS, we are working on IS standards, we are working globally on LEED, we are working with COP summits. I think we are contributing to setting the standards. So what we will see in the course of next 10 odd minutes is more patient-centric and what we can do in that space as a community to take the journey forward. So I will not really dwell too much in terms of what we do in skill building, sustainability. I think these are things we work very strongly on, and the whole kind of bedrock we work on from a gypsum perspective is around sustainability. I think that's something I will not dwell on very strongly. So what Dr. Rao said around patient experience is absolutely right. There used to be a time when we used to talk of curing. We are now talking of what we can do from a health perspective. We are talking of what we can do from a comfort perspective. We are talking of what is the experience. These were things which were possibly not at the back of our mind a few years back. But as all know, I think that's something we'll have to look at. And the genesis of this change is going to be the voice of the consumer. So while we will talk of what the entire ecosystem is doing, which is people in this room, if we are able to keep the patient as the center for activities, I think that creates a lot better win-win and sustainable solutions. And as we heard, something which straddles short-term as well as the future. So what is it around patient experiences? I think we've all been there, done that, either in our personal capacities, in our families, whichever ways. We heard of sick building syndromes, noises, acoustic. We hear of humidity, temperatures. We hear of how we deal with people, staff, doctors, people around us. I think we hear of anxiety, sleep, what's really happening in that space, aesthetics, how it impacts us, how our environment impacts us. I think that's very, very important. Light, air, I think these are very, very basic things we work on. And I will just give a very brief snapshot of how these things kind of play over a period of time. So I think from acoustic, if you look at it by and large, if you look at what WHO recommends, I hope I'm not blocking your view, we talk of almost 30 to 35 dB. The reality is we are currently at 60 to 70 dB. So just imagine the kind of issues we are facing because of this, and this is across the board. This is not only at a patient care, you look at a neonatal, you look at all the other areas. I think it's got a huge cascading impact. So all this is research data. If you look at errors which happen, 70% of errors which happen are communication errors. कोई कुछ बोल रहा है, कोई कुछ सुन रहा है, and that's leading to issues at the end user level. So just look at it from what we can do to make sure that the end user experience is kind of what they expect when they come in. So quick snapshot summary, I think when we look at it from acoustics perspective, we are looking at impact on the well-being of the patient. Very, very important. We are looking at blood pressure. We are looking at stress levels. Quality of sleep, which I'm sure many people in the room are aware from a recovery perspective what kind of role it plays. Around pain medication. Importance of communication with people around us, whether it's our staff, doctors, hospitals, relatives. Very, very critical. I had a very, very unfortunate incident a few months back when I lost my mom. I was in ICU and I was told I should not be crying because it would disturb the other patients around. So I think how many of us are cognizant of what kind of experiences people around us are going in that environment is very, very critical. Around quick snapshot around indoor air quality, I think just one point food for thought is whenever we sneeze and there's a lack of air, the aerosols continue in the air for almost 4 to 5 hours. Imagine you're in a infected, with an infected driver in your car, what would happen to you? You're in a room, there's a curtain in between, how does it impact us? I think very, very critical for us to see whether it is from an infection perspective, from a sick building perspective. I think that these are things which are very real and will impact all of us who are working towards designing these ecosystems. So not only that, I think right from hospital staff, allergic reactions, doctors' decision making. In fact, if you look at what kids today really go through WhatsApp videos and ask is, hey, can I work in a Google office? Why do you think a Google or Amazon invest in their offices? If some of us have seen what kind of environment they work in, it is linked to productivity. It is about decision making. It's around what you're able to give back in the limited time, which is the critical resource. And hence around drowsiness, discomfort, infections, ENT, I think those are very, very real things which air does kind of contribute to. Thermal, I think we heard Dr. Rao talk about energy being a very critical aspect for us. So various areas, unfortunately, if you look at, and I hope we have friends from the HVAC systems in the room, but designing is never easy. Different areas will have different requirements. Someone sitting in OPD, someone sitting in ICU, someone having in the waiting area are unlikely to have similar requirements, and how will that translate to our sweet spot is very critical. So I think that's something which temperatures work around. Something we don't talk about very frequently, visual comfort. It's proven through data that people who are exposed to external sunlight have a quicker recovery. So just imagine when we are going through this process, what is it that the daylight is doing for the person, visual comfort, reflection, this room, are you able to see me? Is the glare coming on me? Am I able to see my audience? Very, very critical, which is true of all our environments, yeah? Colors. We keep on hearing many things about colors, but colors by themselves have a very important role to play. So whether we can look at people going through fractures, what kind of colors talk to them, people going through depression, what kind of colors we talk to them. And we are talking of multi-speciality hospitals today. Various kind of things we are going through. So how do we incorporate well-being, wellness, recuperation, which incidentally to me, sir, is not a cost. So we keep on talking of cost. If you look at what we are getting in return, is far more. If today the patient is going to be the cornerstone of our business, I think we need to look at it in that light as to how we take it to the next level. Biophilic, I think we all know the impact plants have on us. In fact, in St. Gobain, we have a policy that our offices also have plants inside the cabins. These are again facts which we go through on a daily basis. So right from across the board, there are lots of good stuff which is happening. So in essence, if you look at all the kind of gamut of things we referred to, what is important for us is to focus on design thinking. How do we incorporate all these? And I sincerely, we have seen a few examples of cost and margin control, sir. We hope as we add value as a community, we are able to recover that value from our end users as well. So we do respect the fact that we will go lower down, whether it's rural, home, off home. I think how do we make sure that we are able to give the best of the standards at the right price point is a journey which people in this room will have to walk through. So again, a fairly busy chart, but if you look at hygiene, you look at thermal, we look at acoustics, we look at visual, we look at air quality. I think at each and every touch point of the patient, we need to be sure of what is the importance. How do we talk to that? How do we give them solutions which will be sustainable? I think that's critical for us. As I said, a variety of areas will have a variety of requirements. And hence, if you look at standards which all of us keep on referring to, I think HTM 56 gives us what kind of acoustics is expected in a variety of areas. And you can see what the expectation is, and we all know our reality. Is if you have been at the other end as a patient or someone accompanying a patient, what kind of experiences do we go through? Around temperatures, relative humidity, again, subjective to where we are. These are building code recommendations, and I'm sure we are working on further developing these in line with our partners in the room. How can we develop standards which will give us accreditations in terms of well-being of the patient? I think that's something which the entire fraternity is working towards. So at the end of the day, as I say, if it's around references, if it's around the experience in the age of digital, it's very critical for us to make sure that we are able to, at each and every touch point, looking at ourselves as a brand, we represent what is it in it for the patient. I think that's very critical as a lens to have, to create something which is sustainable, of course. Again, some kind of data which we have collected globally. So this is something which we do across many countries in terms of well-being productivity. Small example, waiting rooms, lobbies, if you look at it, earth tones, turquoise, where people are waiting, what are they waiting for? Calm mood, what will elevate their moods? What kind of corridors do we need? I think all these are sciences which have been developed over a period of time and will evolve as we go through the journey. So that's something we need to look forward to. So कुछ तो स्वार्थ भी होगा, हर चीज़ परमार्थ हो नहीं सकती. So coming down to what are the various players who are contributing to this. So if you look at something say like acoustic comfort. So we do have players from glass who will contribute to the acoustic comfort. There will be ceilings, partitions, fans, I think pipes, absorptive wall ceilings. These are kind of things which keep on impacting us. The point is, what we need to reflect on is how are all these interfacing with one another. And what's missing in this chart as I reflect on the discussions in the morning is we could have included fire over here, and we could have possibly included sustainability over here. Important, maybe not in the short term with patient as a end point, but for this fraternity, I think very critical for us to have a look at. So in a nutshell, I think what we are looking for is, can we work towards comfort? Can we work towards well-being? can we work towards experience? These are the things you'll keep on hearing from St. Gobain as a group. We keep on talking on these concerns. And what do we mean by these? I think these are small sledgings. If you look at it, how does the daylight comfort vary in the course of the day? So it's not only around looking at visual comfort at 10 in the morning or 7 in the evening, or around thermal comfort at variety of spaces at different points in time. I think these are things which are very, very critical. If you look at something like even a ceiling, what kind of absorption and insulation we give on sound is very critical. Am I audible to this audience, and is the audience able to appreciate is very critical in this room as well. So we do have lots of solutions we offer over here, right from 0.3 NRC on to 0.9 NRC in terms of absorption, in terms of transmission. I think these are things we have within our family as St. Gobain, variety of solutions. Specifically on Gyproc, I think when we look at acoustic comfort, we keep on talking of reverberation town, we talk of insulation. I was going through the stalls outside. I think we have friends from HIL over here, we have friends from Ramco over here. They will also be able to build on this theme and say, what are materials able to contribute to the well-being? I think that's very, very critical for us in the room to appreciate how we can partner to create these solutions. So when we talk of VOCs, I think indoor air quality, it's not tangible, but it's real. The question is, can we make it tangible so that people are able to appreciate how it impacts them is what we'll have to work towards. So what I'm saying is it's not purely around having building materials, having specific solutions. It is around creating solutions together. So we do have a research center which is based in Chennai. We have 7 research centers across the globe. And our endeavor is we work with partners who come with us at the design stage to create the kind of solutions they want to create. And we straddle the right spectrum. So if you look at in healthcare, working with Fortis, Sparsh, including even a lot of government projects, Indira Gandhi Hospital, Ram Manohar Lohia, we have worked with all of these. In fact, our latest is Tata Memorial, which our Prime Minister Modi ji inaugurated in December. That's also made with St. Gobain solutions. So how do we, even in all spaces we are working in, we did go to the drawing base for the Tata Cancer Hospital and say, if we were to create solutions for the patient, which straddles all stakeholders, someone who's making hospitals, someone who's running hospitals, someone who's receiving health from the hospitals, there are contractors, there are PMCs, there are architects, the entire chain, हम उनके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं ये सोचने वाली बात है. So can we work together to create these solutions in a variety of formats? So the requirements could be very, very different as we talked of a variety of spaces. I think that's very critical for us to dwell on. I have touched upon the surface of what we could have done, but we do have a team over here. I will be available. Look forward to learning from all of you and taking the journey to the next level. So thank you so much for patiently hearing me out, and I guess I am on time. So thank you.
Now, so I would request you to please stay on the stage. I would request Mr. Harish Natkarni to join us here, CEO NABH, to felicitate Mr. Sudip. Please go in the center. Yeah, center of the stage.